The film opens on a gloomy Seattle afternoon. Light, a teenager, sits by himself at lunch, doing homework for classmates in exchange for money. Something inexplicable falls from the sky. Light stands and picks it up, a black leather-covered book known as Death Note. He puts it away in his bag as rain begins to fall. As Light heads off to class, he sees Kenny intimidating a smaller kid. Mia, his high school crush, walks over and steps between them, going against Kenny. Light walks over to defend her, trying to make a good impression, but Kenny knocks him across the face and sends him flying into the ground. Later, the principal is with Light in his office. He discovers Light has been doing homework on behalf of other students, and sends him to detention. That day, Light spends time alone in the detention room. Restless, he pulls out the Death Note and flips through the pages. He reads the rules, strange, evil instructions scrawled in ominous script: "The human whose name is written in this note shall die." The lights suddenly flicker. Marbles from a vase shatter all over the floor. Light freezes, staring around. Abruptly, a gigantic creature with sharp teeth and gleaming eyes from darkness. Ryuk, one of the death gods, appears. Light screams, backing away and trying to get out of class. But Ryuk does not attack, he merely watches. Ryuk speaks softly, nearly humorously. He tells Light to sign someone's name on the notebook and watch. Kenny is bullying a kid again, and Ryuk tells Light to write Kenny's name in the notebook and choose a form of death. Shaken up, but curious, Light writes Kenny's name and lists decapitation beside it. Within seconds, a freak accident occurs. A ladder bounces off a van and strikes Kenny's head, savagely decapitates him in front of shocked students. Light is at a loss. Ryuk tells him coldly that if he cannot accept the responsibility, he should give the Death Note some time off for 7 days. If he does that, it will erase itself and he will no longer visit him. That night during supper, Light and his father, James, clash. James, a candid police officer, is angry that a murderer who killed his wife is being released from prison, because of expensive attorneys and a tainted system of justice. Light is angry, he storms out of the room and goes upstairs. In his room, Ryuk again appears. Light is more composed this time. Ryuk interrupts, he tells Light that he can kill anyone anywhere anytime, if he's accurate about it. Light is determined and writes down the name of the man who killed his mother and the way he dies. At the same time, on the opposite side of the city, the man sits at a dinner table. He accidentally stabs himself in the throat with a fork, dying before his family. The next day, James tells Light that the killer passed away in what they're calling a freak accident. Light nods, hiding his secret. However, on a deeper level, something has shifted. In gym class, Light recites the guidelines of the notebook again. Mia sees the strange book in his hand and approaches him out of curiosity. Light decides to confide in her. He brings her to a vacant, silent classroom and lets her hold the Death Note, and tells her what it does. She doesn't believe him at first. So they test it. They watch a live hostage situation on TV. Light instantly writes down the criminal's name and an elaborate death. Abruptly, on screen, the man drops his weapon, releases his hostage, and is right away hit by a racing police van. Mia is stunned. Light tells her they have a chance to right all of what the justice system can't, and she agrees. Over the course of the next few days, they bond, bound by mission and secrecy. They begin selecting names: war criminals, terrorists, cartel leaders. They both perish in otherworldly headline-making conditions. They both build a persona around the killings: Kira, an unmasked, avenging deity of justice. The world knows about it, and news readers learn about the mysterious figure purging the world of sin. Some shudder with fear, many join his fan club, and people begin chanting Kira's name on protest marches. He is a hero in some eyes. But not everyone are believers. Outside, an enigmatic man clad in a hoodie is set the task of discovering who Kira really is. The next morning, James reports to the precinct as though nothing out of the ordinary has occurred. There waiting for him is a quiet-spoken, suited man who introduces himself as Watari, assistant to the notorious detective L. Watari tells James that L wishes to speak with him about the series of global murders blamed on some unspecified party now dubbed Kira in the media. James is ready, as he has heard the name L, previously mentioned before, in whispers by lawmen as something bordering on legend, a master manipulator. They enter a private room, a computer sits, open and already connected. L speaks through a speaker, his voice silky and unnervingly robotic. Never once does he appear on camera. The screen displays only his signature letter. L tells James that he has reason to believe Kira isn't acting from some remote location, that L believes Kira is in Seattle. That's why he needs James, an in-town officer. Someone who knows the city and its people, and James agrees. Mia takes Light out of class at school and introduces him to something new, a growing website where people from around the world mark Kira, asking him to bring justice to unsolved murder cases and lost court cases. Later that same afternoon, the phone rings at Light's. It is Mia. She requests that he watch the news. On the news is L, showing that law enforcement officials are now seriously investigating the case of Kira. He pleads with the public, if anyone knows who Kira is, now is the time to speak up. L informs James, post-broadcast, that he has narrowed it down to something significant. Kira cannot kill indiscriminately. He needs a name and a face. And that's why L maintains his own identity hidden. If Kira does not know who he is, he cannot be killed. The same night, Light goes to the living room and argues with his father. He asks him about the masked figure referred to as L, but even James claims not to know anything about him. Light is shaken. L is now a danger he can never predict. The next day, Light realizes that he is being followed, subtly by L's men. He encounters Mia and tells her that they need to keep low-key, no more killings, but Mia argues, if they leave, won't that be evidence that they are Kira? The following day, L's undercover agent somehow gets a heart attack. Next, in a shocking series of events, some of the undercover agents trailing Light suddenly drop what they're doing and begin to walk towards the roof of a building. Individually, each one leaps off the roof, silently, to their death. Elsewhere, Watari receives the news and warns L. When L tries to call his men, they are all dead. The entire task force is wiped out. The next morning, Light sees Ryuk in the dining room. He tells Light he didn't do anything to make anyone die, but also reminds him, the men were closing in too close. The game must continue. And Ryuk, he needs the game to survive. Light and Mia sit in her bedroom from that day forward, watching television. James appears on screen, talking to Kira himself. As the world waits with bated breath, James taunts him, telling the world that if Kira now kills policemen, then he should also kill him, now and here. Light gets into a frenzy. Mia tries to grab the notebook, with the plan of writing down James's name before everything gets away, but Light doesn't let her do it. No matter what the circumstances are, he won't kill his own dad. That evening, James returns home. Light welcomes him at the door and hugs him tightly, relieved to see that he's fine. James's phone rings out of the blue. It is L. He just called to confirm that James was alive. L hangs up and then whispers to Watari secretly that Kira is Light. L meets Light that night in a tiny cafe. He sits opposite him and informs him that he knows that he is Kira. But he still has no idea how he kills. Light keeps calm. He doesn't refute it. Instead, he glares back and queries why he hasn't arrested him yet. L leans in close to him and warns that soon he will, then he shows his face, taunting him. That evening, Light sits down with Mia. They both agree they should get rid of L, but they realize they can't do it directly, so they attack Watari instead. Light takes his time to sign his signature in the notebook, but with one condition, that Watari learn and disclose L's identity before he himself passes away. The next day, Watari boards a train that leaves into the far-out countryside. He travels to a remote location, an off-limits building where L and other outstanding orphans were trained as top-class detectives. In the building, Watari searches through cobweb-filled corridors, narrow tunnels, and locked records. Then, he finds a file, L's real name. He pulls out his phone to call Light when SWAT team bursts in and shoot and kill Watari, before he could present Light with what he found. That evening, during prom, Light begins getting a feeling that Mia has been sabotaging his work and confronts her. She acts innocent at first. But when pushed to the corner, Mia collapses. She admits everything. She tells him that she did so just for him. As Light had started doubting himself, getting soft. So she stepped in. She went out of her way to discover the secret agents' names. She wrote them down, in order to protect both of them. Mia admits that she's done even more. She's written Light's name in the notebook. Not to kill him, but to keep the book for herself. She explains the clause, Light is supposed to die, yet she penned that he will live. He will be found, paramedics will revive him, as she has ensured. Sirens outside in the background are heard. Seattle PD bursts the hallways. They're not speculating now, they know. They believe Light is Kira. Officers approaching, Light makes a break out the back, but waiting for him in the alley is L, eyes open wide, finger on the trigger. Light raises his hands and begs him not to shoot. And just then a kitchen staff comes out and hears it all, L accusing Light of being Kira. The man knocks L out of action and approaches Light, telling him he's a Kira fan. Taken aback, Light grabs L's fallen gun and into the night he disappears. He runs until streets devolve into noises and lights, a carnival, still open and alive. There, among the fray of rides and spinning wheels, he finds Mia waiting. She had insisted on meeting, as she wants the notebook. They board the Ferris wheel and the ride jerks into motion. Light pleads with her, explaining that they have to stop. But Mia has already tasted power. She's addicted now, but what Mia doesn't know is that Light has actually written her name. He told Ryuk the terms, Mia dies, if only she tries to steal the death note out of his hand. As the wheel rises higher, Ryuk appears, smiling and watching. Mia grasps at the notebook, then the ride breaks down. Mia crashes, her body shattering through posts and bulbs before crashing to her death. Seconds later, the Ferris wheel explodes apart and Light is thrown from the top. He plunges into the sea, the death note dropping from his hands. Somewhere along the line, the tide carries it away, until a quiet fisherman finds it washed up on the beach. Days later, Light awakens in a hospital bed, and the notebook in his lap. That's when James arrives, no longer the warm, open father. He's a police officer, and today he came in search of answers. He only questions Light once: how did he keep on killing, even if he was in a coma for 2 days? Light doesn't blink, he tells him all of it. He had rehearsed beforehand and scribbled it down in the notebook, the order of events precisely. He explained that once he had drowned in the sea, he would be rescued by a man who happened to be walking by, but not merely any man, a doctor with a history of assaulting unconscious female patients. Next, the diary would be returned to him by another offender, a man who was notorious for abusing young girls. And once those two did what he needed, he killed both of them in gruesome freak accidents. Light looks at his father, calm and peaceful. To him, he did not kill them, fate did. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe for more notifications. Until next time. See you soon.